Reverend Dr. Dickie Joe Mullen discusses the influences of the planet Saturn in our lives, looking first at the natal horoscope and then progressed charts throughout the life course.
This is Dr. Dickie Joe Mullen in Orlando, Florida, astrologer with thoughts about the planet Saturn in your own life. Saturn is the planet that we can see with the naked eye that's furthest away. Prior to the 1700s, when Uranus was discovered with the aid of a telescope, it represented the parameters of the solar system, the universe as we knew it. And it represents, as far as most people develop in life, the more exotic planets like Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and now the ones further beyond like Sedna, all have to do with modern life, long spans of time. Saturn is our personal lives, our own reality check. It represents timing and the use of our most precious resource, which has to be time. Saturn takes about 29 years to circle the sun, and in an average lifespan there are 2 Saturn returns, one at about age 28 or so, 29 to 30. There can be a little variety in the speed of Saturn. The other one occurs at before 60, but in the late 50s. Average time is about 56. Those are important time spans. But while Saturn is reaching its return to the natal place, it goes through a number of different situations, rites of passage that affect all of us, using the 5 major aspects, not just the return to its natal place. Saturn squares its natal place at about age 7. Square is a 90-degree angle. There's 30 degrees in each zodiac sign. Saturn stays roughly 2.5 years in each of the 12 signs of the zodiac. Saturn squaring its natal place at age 7 usually correlates with elementary school, the first grade or so, second grade, roughly age 6 to 7. This is when people lose their teeth, their baby teeth, and permanent teeth coming in. Teeth relate to the planet Saturn and bones, and it represents responsibility. We're supposed to be a little bit responsible for ourselves, and the age of reason, many people believe, was 7. I know in Jesuit education, 7 was very important as far as a turning point for the learning curve. The second major aspect that we want to look at is the Saturn opposition to its natal place. This takes place at about age 14, and of course that's junior high school. At one time I thought that I'd like to be a teacher, and they didn't have any openings in Orlando for English teachers, so I signed on as a substitute, and they sent me into the junior high, and that was the end of it. I decided to go back to being an astrologer. Saturn opposition, I'm sure I was just as terrible as any of the kids that were in there, maybe worse. But at any rate, the Saturn opposition is trouble with the school, meeting up with bullies, thinking you're ugly, nobody likes you, all sorts of difficulties. Oppositions are problems through our visions of ourselves with other people. Then there is the Saturn trine to its natal place at about age 21. That's when we're mostly through required schooling, have an idea of smooth sailing in life. People that are responsible then, there are some opportunities to kind of make the brightest and the best of your life around that time period. Then the Saturn return at age 28 to 29, even people who don't know a lot about astrology often have heard of the Saturn return. That's the time when the pattern of one's life is crystallized, whether it's going to go up or down, be productive. Many decisions that have been made set the pace of your life. whether there's been a relationship commitment, a job commitment, important turning points, maybe the purchase of property. For those that are on a downward spiral, have been breaking the law, partying out too much, whatever they've been doing that isn't the smartest thing, it'll catch up with everyone, good or bad, at about the time of the Saturn return. 27 to 30, average time is age 28 for that. Age 35, Saturn squares its natal place again, and this is a very competitive time professionally. Kind of a dog-eat-dog, cat-fight influence in the workplace takes place. And then there is the Saturn opposition, the second Saturn opposition that correlates with the Uranus opposition in the early 40s, and that is the midlife crisis. A lot of times there's a divorce for someone that we married at age 21 or at the Saturn return at 29. Those are common times to get married. If it was the wrong commitment, everything, the fit can hit the shan, I like that phrase, right around age 42. And then the second Saturn conjunction, the second Saturn return, at roughly late 50s, no later than 60, is a reality check of what in the world have I been doing with my time on the planet, with my resources, whether time and resources, opportunities have been squandered or have been used wisely. Everything comes home to roost at that point. Many people squander an inheritance they've received. I see that in my own practice with clients. That just happened, actually, with a very dear client, very nice gentleman who was blessed to receive an inheritance, only child, and did some very stupid things, very well-educated, bright guy, and squandered it all. That's a direct quote. And it happened right on the Saturn return. So we have to kind of think ahead. Saturn, everything with astrology is always free will. The stars impel, they don't compel. Within limits, anyway, I believe in free will. There are things, certain things that are predisposed. But using the stars as a roadmap and using the thoughts of Saturn cycles as rites of passage can be very, very helpful in guiding our own lives. This is astrologer Dickie Jo Mullen wishing you good timing.